For thousands of years, the pyramids of Egypt have stood as silent giants, monuments to mystery, mastery, and the unknown. But what if they hold more than just the secrets of a lost civilization? What if their story stretches beyond Earth, into the stars? From strange hieroglyphs to impossible engineering, many believe the answers lie not in our history books, but in the skies above. Welcome to the theory that challenges everything we thought we knew. Ancient Egypt's connection to aliens. The winds howl across the Egyptian desert, sweeping through the endless dunes like whispers from a forgotten time. And there, rising from the earth as if summoned by forces beyond comprehension, stand the pyramids of Giza, eternal, colossal, and impossibly precise. They do not simply exist, they dominate. For thousands of years, these ancient monuments have captivated the imagination of poets, historians, and skeptics alike. But as we gaze upon their massive forms silhouetted against the setting sun, a chilling question takes root in the mind. What if the true origin of these wonders lies not in history books, but in the stars? As the sky darkens and a veil of twilight settles over the desert, strange visions begin to unfold. Imagine for a moment the world over 4 millennia ago, not filled with primitive tools and chaotic guesswork, but a place humming with mystery and celestial knowledge. The high priests, robed in white linen, stand beneath a velvet sky mapped with constellations, their eyes not on the earth, but turned upward toward the heavens. Their chants rise like smoke into the cosmos, reaching something, or someone, waiting, above. Suddenly, a brilliant light tears across the sky. A disc-shaped object shimmers, casting its glow over the Sphinx's face. Ancient stone walls are illuminated with strange shadows, as if the past is being pulled forward into the present. The hieroglyphs, long thought to be symbolic myths, suddenly seem like testimonies. Depictions of men with elongated skulls, staffs that crackle with unseen power, and winged crafts descending from the sky. Could these have been mere spiritual metaphors? Or were they eyewitness accounts of contact with otherworldly beings? As thunder rumbles across the horizon and the stars shimmer brighter, one thing becomes impossible to ignore. Perhaps the greatest mystery of ancient Egypt is not what we can see, but what we refuse to believe. Towering over the Giza plateau, the Great Pyramid is more than just a tomb. It is a riddle in stone, an ancient cipher carved into the earth. Built with over 2.3 million limestone blocks, each weighing several tons, the precision of its construction remains unmatched. No mortar holds these stones together, only flawless placement, aligned with such accuracy that modern engineers still struggle to replicate it. How could an ancient civilization, limited to primitive copper tools and wooden sledges, have achieved this level of perfection? And yet, they did. Or did they? The deeper we look, the more the mystery deepens. The Great Pyramid is not just architecturally perfect, it is cosmically aligned. Its sides are oriented to the 4 cardinal points with astonishing precision. Its dimensions encode the mathematical constant pi in the golden ratio. Its internal shafts point directly toward the stars in Orion's belt, the celestial home of Osiris, the god of the afterlife, who was believed to have come down from the sky. Mainstream archaeology tells us the pyramid was built as a tomb for Pharaoh Khufu, but no body was ever found. No inscriptions name him inside the structure. No treasures, no funerary art. Just silence, almost as if the pyramid was never meant for the dead, but for something, or someone, else. Ancient astronaut theorists argue that this was not the work of men alone. That perhaps Egypt's greatest monument was a collaborative effort between humans seeking power and knowledge, and visitors from beyond the stars offering it. Some even claim the pyramid once served as a beacon, a power station, or even a landing site. Skeptics laugh, scholars debate, but the stones remain, immovable, silent, and seemingly immortal. And, as the sun casts its final golden glow over the desert horizon, one can't help but feel the weight of the question pressing down as heavily as the stones themselves. Were we truly alone when the pyramids rose? Or were they built under watchful alien eyes? Step inside the shadowy halls of ancient Egyptian temples, where every wall tells a story, not just of kings and conquests, but of gods, with forms unlike any human. Their heads shaped like falcons, ibises, jackals, and serpents, their eyes wide, emotionless, their posture regal yet distant. Are these simply artistic depictions of divine myths, or is there something far more otherworldly at play? One figure stands out: Thoth, the god of wisdom, often portrayed with an elongated skull and large slanted eyes. Beside him is Ra, the sun god, descending in a blazing solar boat from the heavens, his arrival often shown as blinding beams showering the earth. These images, dismissed by many as symbolic religious art, take on a new meaning when compared to modern descriptions of alien encounters. Long, thin bodies, oversized heads, auras of radiant light, strangely shaped crafts floating above the people. In the Temple of Seti I at Abydos, carvings appear to show what some claim are helicopters, submarines, and flying saucers, etched thousands of years ago into solid stone. Coincidence? Misinterpretation? Or evidence that ancient Egyptians saw machines far ahead of their time? Even more compelling are the mysterious sky beings described in various texts, entities who descended in flying boats and brought knowledge to humanity. In one tale, these beings were glorious lights who taught language, mathematics, medicine, and architecture. Could these beings have been mythological gods? Or were they advanced visitors, so far beyond human understanding that they were mistaken for gods? And if that's true, what else did they leave behind? Deep within the crypt of the Temple of Hathor at Dendera, hidden away from sunlight for thousands of years, lies one of the most baffling images in all of ancient Egyptian art. Carved into the stone is a figure holding what appears to be a giant, glowing light bulb, its coiled filament snaking inside a glass-like chamber, connected by a thick cable to a mysterious energy source. To the modern eye, it's not just art, it's technology. This depiction, known as the Dendera Light, has fascinated theorists, engineers, and skeptics alike. Some believe it to be a purely symbolic image of creation and fertility, but others ask, why would such a bizarre, out-of-place object be carved so precisely in such a secretive part of the temple? What if it's not symbolic at all? What if it's a clue? Those who support the ancient alien theory suggest this could be a representation of actual ancient electrical technology, passed down by extraterrestrial visitors who shared advanced knowledge with the Egyptians. After all, how else did they light the interiors of massive tombs without soot or torch burns on the ceilings? Theories range from primitive batteries to radiant energy, or even directed light from unknown tools. Nearby, inscriptions tell of divine knowledge gifted by the gods and light without fire. These phrases, long assumed to be poetic, suddenly feel like technical documentation, seen through a forgotten lens of understanding. So we are left to wonder, were the ancient Egyptians experimenting with a form of electricity centuries before it was rediscovered by humans? Or was the Dendera Light a parting gift from those who came from the stars? Imagine if the pyramids and temples of ancient Egypt were more than just ceremonial sites. What if they were gateways? Not metaphorical or spiritual gateways, but literal portals to other worlds. This is the core of the Stargate theory, a concept so bold it has inspired blockbuster films and captured the imagination of researchers and truth-seekers around the globe. In the Book of the Dead, one of the most sacred Egyptian texts, the soul of the deceased embarks on a perilous journey, crossing rivers of fire, passing gates guarded by divine beings, and ultimately reaching the stars. These aren't just poetic metaphors. The ancient Tayu Egyptians wrote with stunning specificity, star maps, coordinates, rituals timed to celestial alignments. They believed the pharaohs could ascend to the heavens, not just in spirit, but in body. Some theorists suggest the Great Pyramid was designed as a launch point or even an interdimensional device, its narrow shafts aligning precisely with Orion's belt, acting as a cosmic antenna. Others point to carvings of star doors and sky ladders found in the Temple of Edfu and the pyramid texts, symbols that could represent wormholes or stargates, used by advanced beings to move between realms. Was this ancient civilization merely obsessed with the afterlife? Or were they documenting encounters with real star travelers, beings who came and went through portals beyond our understanding? Theories aside, one truth remains. The architecture, mythology, and celestial focus of ancient Egypt all point to one overwhelming obsession: the stars. And maybe, just maybe, they weren't reaching up to the heavens in hope, but remembering where they came from. On a quiet day in the 15th century BCE, something extraordinary was witnessed in the skies above Egypt. According to the Tulli Papyrus, a controversial yet widely discussed document allegedly found in the archives of the Vatican, a pharaoh and his army looked up to see circles of fire flying through the air. These strange glowing discs moved with impossible speed, hovered silently, and emitted radiant light. The ancient record even states they were more numerous than the brightness of the sun. Could this have been the first documented UFO sighting in human history? Skeptics argue the papyrus is either mistranslated or fabricated, yet it fits eerily well with modern descriptions of unidentified flying objects. It speaks of a great disturbance in the sky and visitors from the heavens that caused mass panic among soldiers and priests alike. If this is merely myth, why such detail? Why such urgency in the record? But it doesn't stop there. Throughout temples like Karnak, Luxor, and Edfu, there are carvings of winged discs, skyboats, and beings descending from or surrounded by circular objects. While many Egyptologists interpret these as religious or symbolic, others believe they represent first-hand accounts of aerial phenomena, objects that did not behave like birds, stars, or clouds, but moved with intelligence. Even more haunting are the depictions of gods arriving in loud thunder and light, traveling in celestial boats that hover rather than sail. Were these just creative flourishes from an imaginative culture? Or did ancient artists carve what they saw? Flying machines far more advanced than any known to man. The skies above Egypt were not empty, at least not according to those who lived beneath them. And in their art, in their words etched in stone, they may have left behind something far more than legend. Eyewitness testimony, set in granite. How did an ancient civilization, thousands of years before the modern telescope or calculator, possess such extraordinary knowledge of astronomy, engineering, and mathematics? The deeper we explore Egypt's ancient past, the more we encounter questions that shake the foundation of historical certainty. The ancient Egyptians tracked the movement of stars with astonishing accuracy. They aligned their most sacred structures with celestial bodies like Orion's belt, Sirius, and the solstices. Long before Europe even understood the Earth was round, they could calculate the length of the solar year to within mere minutes. And the Great Pyramid? It encodes the value of pi, the golden ratio, the curvature of the Earth, and even the distance between our planet and the Sun, all carved into stone over 4 millennia ago. Where did this timeless knowledge come from? Some say it was passed down through generations by priest scholars. But others wonder, what if it came from visitors not of this earth? Ancient texts speak of the Watchers, beings who descended in glowing ships to teach early mankind. They gifted humans with knowledge of the stars, medicine, agriculture, even the very principles of writing and law. Could these gods of Egypt, Thoth, Osiris, Ra, have been more than myth? Could they have been advanced intelligences cloaked in divine form, mistaken by early humans as deities because of their power? It's a haunting possibility, one that forces us to reconsider the origin of knowledge itself. Maybe humanity did not rise alone. Maybe we were helped, guided, and inspired by something, or someone, watching from the stars. Of course, not everyone is convinced. While the idea of alien involvement in ancient Egypt stirs wonder and excitement, mainstream scholars and Egyptologists strongly reject these theories. To them, attributing Egyptian achievements to extraterrestrials does more than defy logic. It robs humanity of its own brilliance. They argue that the pyramids were constructed with incredible ingenuity, yes, but with human hands, using simple tools and vast labor forces. The hieroglyphs depicting strange beings are seen not as aliens, but as symbolic representations of gods, ideals, or spiritual concepts. The so-called Dendera Light, interpreted as a lotus flower, common in Egyptian art, surrounded by a snake representing divine energy. And what of the Tulli Papyrus? Skeptics point out that no original document has ever surfaced, and translations vary widely. As for the carved helicopters in Abydos, explained as a visual coincidence, the result of overlapping inscriptions eroded over time, not futuristic machines. To these scholars, every mystery has a rational explanation, one grounded in archaeology, linguistics, and human creativity. They caution against letting fantasy overshadow fact, warning that the allure of ancient aliens can lead us to ignore the genius of the past. But even in their denial, the mystery persists. Because for every rational answer, another question arises. Why such cosmic precision? Why the obsession with the stars? Why do so many ancient cultures across the globe share eerily similar stories of gods who came from the sky, bearing gifts of wisdom? Are we romanticizing the unknown? Or are we standing at the edge of a truth we're still too afraid to fully face? In every corner of the modern world, from primetime documentaries to late-night conspiracies, from ancient temples to internet forums, the theory of ancient aliens has taken on a life of its own. It has become more than a fringe belief. It's a global phenomenon, a cultural mirror reflecting our deepest questions. Where do we come from? Are we truly alone? And who, if anyone, was here before us? Shows like Ancient Aliens have sparked curiosity in millions. Artists, writers, filmmakers, and even scientists have drawn inspiration from the idea that extraterrestrial life may have played a role in shaping human history. Entire generations have grown up not just learning about pharaohs and pyramids, but wondering what lies beyond the stars. Films like Stargate, Prometheus, and Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull borrow heavily from this idea, that buried beneath the sand or locked within forgotten stone lies proof of ancient contact, not fiction, but fact hiding in plain sight. But it's more than just pop culture. For many, these theories awaken something primal, a sense that the universe is teeming with life and that humanity's history is part of something much, much bigger. The stars no longer feel cold and empty. They feel familiar, like home. Why? Does this idea resonate so deeply? Because it dares to connect science with spirit, fact with wonder, history with possibility. It invites us to believe that maybe, just maybe, we are not the first ones to look up at the stars with longing. That once, long ago, the stars looked back. As the desert wind howls once more through the ancient ruins of Egypt, we're left with more than just questions. We're left with wonder. A civilization that mastered astronomy, engineered impossible monuments, and wrote endlessly of gods descending from the sky. Were they simply imaginative? Or did they witness something we've forgotten? Skeptics will continue to scoff. Scholars will debate. But the pyramids will remain, unchanged, unwavering, and unexplainable. The eyes of the Sphinx will continue to stare across millennia, as if guarding a secret too sacred to be spoken aloud. We may never find conclusive proof of alien involvement. We may never uncover a hidden spacecraft beneath the sands, or decipher a hieroglyph that plainly says, "We were not alone." But in every mystery there is truth. And in every truth, a whisper. Look deeper. Because maybe the question isn't, did aliens build the pyramids? Maybe the real question is, what did the ancients know that we've lost? And maybe, just maybe, we are the descendants not only of pharaohs and farmers, but of a conversation that once spanned stars. So the next time you gaze at the night sky, remember, the story of ancient Egypt might not be complete. It might be part of a much greater saga, one written not just in sand and stone, but in the stars themselves.